Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to our budget community portfolio series for the month of March 2025. Again, this is not my larger private portfolio. This is the smaller on a budget public one where I only deposit $100 each month into this new account. And then I use that money to invest in stocks, some of which is also influenced by you guys through various polls, comments, and messages that you send me, especially on Discord. And then I do an update video every month broken up into 3 parts, covering first how the portfolio is doing so far and all the trades that we made last month, which was in February. Then we look at how each individual stock is performing either up or down and what I plan to buy in this current month of March. And then at the end, I finish up with just a few comments from you guys that I give really quick responses to in kind of a rapid fire style. Before we start though, a little bit of housekeeping. If you'd like to get full access to this portfolio, as well as our private community Discord, where you can reach me, hang out with other members, and even get access to my daily stock trade where I post a new stock purchase every single day for this portfolio, then you can get access to all of that by supporting me on Patreon. Link is in the description. But thank you to everyone that does support the channel. I couldn't do this without you, so thank you very much for that. And lastly, just a heads up that we also use SoFi for this portfolio, which I'm a very big fan of myself, and it's completely free to use. Plus, if you use my referral link down in the description, you'll even get a bonus $25 to invest in stocks just for trying the app. So I highly recommend you give it a try if you haven't already. But with all of that out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and jump into part one. And let's take a look at how the portfolio is holding up so far and all the moves that we made last month in February. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so in total, the account is just barely above the $2,000 mark after what has really been a pretty rough month in February, where the broader market has really been dipping quite a bit. And so our portfolio also fell about $100 or close to 5% of its value. And although we've had this portfolio for over a year now, and currently we are up 18% on it. However, we do also have about $300 of that just sitting in cash, which when you exclude that, our actual stock investments are up even more at about 22% gains. Speaking of those stock investments though, I did run a few polls during the month to see which stocks you guys wanted to see more of in the portfolio, including this one on YouTube, asking which of these 4 dividend stocks should we buy more of, to which 36% of the votes went to Vici Properties, just barely ahead of Pfizer, who came in second place at 35% of the votes. So we added more Vici stock. Then over on Discord, I asked which of the 10 smallest positions should we buy more of, to which there were many great options, but ultimately C3.ai took the win with 17% of the votes, which was just a bit higher than Cisco, NextEra Energy, and American Tower, all close behind them with 13% of the votes each. So we added more C3 stock. And then finally, I asked over on Patreon, which of our 10 largest positions should we buy more of? To which 33% of the votes went to Google, who I'm definitely not upset about since Google is probably still my overall favorite stock in the entire market right now. So I went ahead and added more Google stock. And in total, I spent $85 in the month, which was within our budget after going over the budget the month prior. And the biggest of those purchases was in C3.ai at $25, kind of a mini riskier version of Palantir there that has really been getting crushed this year. So I've been buying a little more on the dip. Then I spent $20 each on Google and Microsoft, 2 of my absolute favorite core foundational stocks in the market right now. And then $10 on Vici Properties, a dividend paying REIT that I really like right now too. And then just another $5 each on American Tower, another dividend paying REIT, and Amazon, another very large core foundational stock that I love to build as big of a position as I can for the long term. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and move on to part 2 now, and let's take a look at what our best and worst performers are so far individually, and which stocks I plan to buy here in March as well. All right, so here's all the holdings on SoFi. If you want to take a closer look at these, I do post all the screenshots in greater detail on our Discord. But for now, we'll just use some custom charts to make it easier, which as you can see, Google is back to being our #1 largest after Palantir actually tied them last month for that #1 spot. But Google is back on top now after Palantir actually took a big hit this past month, and we also bought a little more Google stock too. On top of that though, Amazon, Microsoft, Vici, SoFi, Verizon, and Medtronic round out our 8 largest stocks, accounting for more than half of the entire portfolio just in those 8 stocks alone, which I'm very happy about. I love all of those stocks. And, if I was to make some adjustments, maybe I would shrink a little bit though, SoFi and Palantir, just because they're so high up right now. They've climbed a lot. I'm just not really sure that I'd want to have Palantir so high up at #2 there above Amazon and Microsoft, even though I do really love Palantir for the long term too. But yeah, maybe just a little too high. Maybe would want to have like Amazon and Microsoft a little higher than them. And besides that, there's not really much else that I would make too big of an adjustment here in the portfolio. I do think American Tower at just 1% could be larger. I would like to get them up to like maybe 3% at least of the portfolio because I love their dividends. But yeah, we can do that over time, so it's not a huge deal. And then EXR and Meta, I would also like to grow a little larger too. I think around 4 to 5% each on those would be nice because I do really like those. I think they're pretty safe plays for the future. In terms of how much we're either up or down on each individual stock though, well, as you can see, we continue to do very well overall with most stocks sitting comfortably in the green. But zooming out a little bit here, we can see that Palantir continues to be our best performer at over 200% gains even after the recent dip, while SoFi and Alibaba are actually the next best two. Alibaba is pretty surprising there. They had a big surge recently, and now we're actually up on it now by over 75%. It used to be a stock that we were actually down on, so that's been a big turn there. And then several more stocks are in the 20 to 50% gains range, including Tesla, Cisco, Meta, and more, with another large batch of stocks up in the double digits, including some of my absolute favorites like Medtronic, Verizon, Amazon, Google, and more. Going down a little bit though into the single digit gainers, we have Tyson Foods, Extra Space Storage, and Vici, all of which I would love to buy more of in the coming month, especially EXR, since it's relatively still small in the portfolio. And I love their dividend. I love their business. I'd love to have more of that stock. And then what I'm even more excited about really is a few of these stocks that are in the red, especially Microsoft, Pfizer, and C3.ai. Being negative on any of those just kind of screams buying opportunity to me. But really, especially Microsoft, who I think is one of the best foundational stocks out there, being in the red on it, got to be buying more. So I'll be looking to add more of all of those stocks mentioned. And overall, I'm just really hoping that the market continues to dip in the coming months so that we get more buying opportunities. I'm loving the volatility myself. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, this is still a very small and young portfolio. I would like to be doing the majority of my buying when the market is going down. Plus, the lower prices get, the bigger the dividends get. So I'm also going to be keeping a very close eye on some of my favorite dividend stocks out there. In fact, I think I'll actually make a dividend stocks video soon because there's a lot that I like right now that I want to be buying, and I should put out a video for you guys to let you know all of those stocks too. But I'll be keeping a very close eye on them. Any dips I see in some dividend stocks, I'll be looking to add more of those too. With that said though, I did add another fresh $100 for the month of March, bringing the portfolio back up to over $2,100 and leaving us with a cash ratio now of just under 20%. All right, it's time now though, guys, to finish up with just a few comments from you guys, and I'll give you my responses to each of them. Now, as always, you can leave comments here down below or on Patreon, and especially on Discord, where I respond directly, and I may even include them in next month's video update too. All right, starting first here, let's go through a few from YouTube. We have this one from Sun Moon asking, how does one find ETF with 20 stocks that you had discussed instead of buying individually? Okay, so basically he's asking, what ETF out there has all of the stocks that we have in the community portfolio that he could just pick up instead? And the answer is that there really is none. And this is actually why I sometimes have to argue with some people that leave comments saying that my portfolio is dumb because it has so many stocks. Why am I not just buying an ETF instead? But I'm glad that Sun Moon asked this question here because it perfectly demonstrates why an ETF is not a solution to that. There's really no ETF out there that can exactly match the same stocks that I have or that we have in this community portfolio. And even if it did, by some miracle, it had exactly the right number of stocks, exactly the same ones, it would definitely not have them at the same percentages either for each individual holding of those stocks. In other words, we're structuring this portfolio ourselves using our own long-term strategy for specific stocks that we like at specific weights. Not to mention, by the way, that this portfolio gets adjusted on a daily basis because I post a new stock purchase every single day. So it's not an ETF, and anyone that suggests an ETF would be better is not really, thinking about this logically, because those are two completely different things. Like, you can't compare the two. It's like saying stop taking vitamin C and just take vitamin A instead, right? Those are two completely different entities. They're doing different things. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I'm just saying that they're structured differently and they do different things. So anyway, next up here we have Libero Aquila, who asked, you don't short? And so my answer is no. And it's not that I have anything against short sellers, but I've just always been a long-term minded investor myself because I feel like it's a lot easier to predict whether a company will do well over many years as opposed to whether they'll struggle in the short term. And if I'm being completely honest with you guys too, there is a little bit of a part of me that just kind of doesn't feel right about helping a stock go down where other people are going to be losing money on that and then I get to profit from it. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that, and I actually think short sellers do serve a specific purpose in the market, kind of keeps it healthy in a way, depending on how you look at it. But I would just personally, I would much rather profit from everyone else profiting too and investing long term, and then we all kind of benefit from it together rather than taking the, I guess, negative approach of it, hoping that a stock goes down. I like it when I can invest in a stock and try to make it go up long term, right? Short term, I want stocks to go down because that's buying opportunities, but I'm not going to try to force that myself by shorting it. I'd rather just play it the other way. I'll let other people handle a stock going down and then I'll buy and I'll try to ride the wave up. But that's just me personally. And again, I have nothing against short sellers. Next up, though, we have Gales Gig, who says, you are worried about the left as the right steals our rights. This is for the ad preceding you. So I'm guessing this person likely saw like a political commercial from YouTube that, I don't know, might have offended them. But just so you know, I have zero control over what commercials YouTube shows you. And I generally avoid political topics too, just because of how sensitive of a subject that can be for some people. Up next, so we have Little Wabbit, who is asking thoughts on AMD, falling knife or looking attractive yet? Well, yeah, actually, I think it's very attractive, losing more than half of its value in the past year. And the only reason why I don't own it myself, I used to own it, and I made a lot of money on it, but the only reason I don't own it right now is because I just have so many other chip stocks at the moment that I feel like it might be a little too much for me to keep track of. But I'm actually thinking about buying some AMD stock soon too, because if it continues to fall like this, I think that they're actually a great alternative to companies like Nvidia and Intel, and I think there's plenty of room in the market to support multiple players. So I actually do really like AMD, and yeah, it's a stock that I think will probably perform well long term. So this could be a buying opportunity. It's high up on my list, watch list, high up on consideration. All right, guys, switching over to Discord, we have a couple comments here in the "Is it a buy" section, including Nay, and sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but this person asks, Ale, any thoughts on Elf? Yeah, this is actually a very popular like makeup, cosmetics, lotion type of company. And I've been asked about them for years now. It's very popular. I know women are also very into this company and this brand as well. And the only reason why I never bought them myself was because of really like two primary reasons, I would say. Number one, I just don't really feel like I know enough about the makeup market to stay up to date with everything about them and their competitors and everything and their products and everything going on there. And I do try my best to stick with stocks that I at least have some experience with or that I have some interest in. And when it comes to makeup and cosmetics and that type of stuff, I kind of have like zero interest in it. So it's not maybe the most ideal stock for me. But number two is the bigger reason because I could still overlook that if the stock was super attractive. But reason number two is that I always felt like the valuation was too high because the stock price was extremely high and it was a very popular stock, and that sent the price climbing a lot. However, more recently, the stock has actually been crashing a lot. So I do think that it's more interesting here, especially for their growth, which is always in the double digits. I mean, every time I check their growth, it's in the double digits. They have good growth and the stock price is falling. So that does make it attractive to me now. However, even after losing more than 60% of its value in the past year, their valuation is still much higher than the sector, more than double on PEG. And that's just too rich for a company that I'm just not very interested in to begin with. So that's why I don't own it. But it's not a stock that I think is a bad stock. I just think you have to have the right investor wanting to own that stock. Another question that we had from there, though, was from Mark the Shark, who asked, Ale, are you buying more Palantir on the drop? Looks like a great buying opportunity. I'm adding more right now. Thank you for your insight. Well, thank you for the nice comment. I really appreciate that. And Palantir is kind of interesting because I did put out a video about it being essentially in a bubble, and that it was like right before they started crashing. And now it's down over 30% in just the past month. So yes, I do actually think it's very attractive here now that it's falling again. And the more that it falls, I think the more attractive it gets. However, I do already own a big position in my personal portfolio. And as you guys saw in this community one, it's the second largest. And I actually don't want it to be that high up in the community one. So I don't know if I'll be buying more in the community one, maybe in my personal one, but I'm also up a lot on both portfolios. I'm up a huge amount on Palantir stocks. So I don't know, it's a little less tempting being up a lot, but as it falls, I am getting tempted to buy more. So I might be adding more. And I certainly like it as a stock. And if I didn't own Palantir, yeah, I would be buying here. And the more it falls, I'd be buying more, even lower too. All right, guys, we'll finish up with just one more comment here. This one is from the discussions tab. We have Zigak. Again, sorry if I'm pronouncing any of these usernames, but Zigak says, it's painful how the market is crashing. And yeah, I just want to respond to this one too, because I love it when the market goes down. And I'm sure Zigak does too. He's probably just emphasizing like how brutal it can be, which I completely agree with. And it's not an easy thing to experience when you're looking at all your stocks losing value. But in the long run, I think we will be much happier knowing that we did at least buy at some of these lower prices while everyone else was panicking. So I love it when stocks go down. And by the way, the market might go easily. It could go much lower from here. We have so many things going on with tariffs and all these political, discussions and things going on globally too, that could be affecting the market. And of course, we still have inflation and interest rates and other things to deal with. So there's a lot going on in the macro economy. But I think, as long as I have that long-term mindset that I view all of this as just buying opportunities, the more volatility, the more that people panic and sell out of stocks and the lower they get, look, that's something that I'm always just going to look at as a buying opportunity. When people are selling some of my favorite stocks, I will gladly take those stocks off their hands because I'm always thinking very far out. I'm thinking, 10 years out or even much longer. Ideally, my favorite stocks I would love to hold even into retirement. So that's how I feel about it. But anyway, just wanted to, I guess, share my opinion on that. But that'll do it for this month's update. I hope that you are all doing well out there. I hope you're all doing well with your own portfolios. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And I thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right, take care, my friends. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.